Russia blasted the main children's hospital in Kyiv with a missile in broad daylight on Monday and rained missiles down on other cities across Ukraine, killing at least 37 civilians in the deadliest wave of airstrikes for months. The aftermath of the attack was harrowing. Parents, some cradling their infants, were seen wandering the streets in shock and tears. The hospital's windows were shattered and structural panels were torn away. Hundreds of Kyiv residents quickly mobilized to assist in clearing the rubble and debris.
We heard the first explosion. It was not far. We reacted quickly. My daughter started screaming. I ran into the ward. We were told to go down to the basement. I grabbed my daughter in the corridor, and there was a second explosion. They helped us go down. Now it's the second air alarm, and they made me take my daughter down to the basement.
This is the attack of a missile from a terrorist organization called the Russian Federation at a healthcare facility. This is the largest national children's clinic of Akhmadat. Directly in front of us is the toxicology building, in which assistance was provided to those who need an artificial kidney and cannot live without it on dialysis. Here, intensive care units, damaged operating rooms, damaged oncology department, which had clean rooms and had a certain air, were damaged. In a separate case that was parted, we can see how everything is damaged.
In response to the attack, the Ukrainian government declared a national day of mourning, underscoring the urgent need for enhanced air defenses from Western allies. Ukraine's Air Force reported intercepting 30 out of 38 missiles, yet significant damage was still inflicted on 50 civilian buildings in Kyiv, Kryvyi Rih, Dnipro, and 2 other eastern cities.
Shevchenkivsky district. Here we see another strike. The residential building with around 17 flats is damaged. Rescuers are working, we are hearing the voices, and people are under the rubble. We are doing everything to rescue these people from the rubble. The work is continuing in this district, and we know that in other districts of Kyiv is the same situation. We are doing everything to give maximum assistance, clear the debris and rescue people.
The Security Service of Ukraine identified the missile as a Kh-101 cruise missile. The grim tally included 22 deaths, including 2 children in Kyiv, with 82 others injured. Another 11 fatalities were reported in the Dnipropetrovsk region, alongside 64 wounded, while 3 individuals were killed in Pokrovsk. President Volodymyr Zelensky, currently visiting Poland, vowed retaliation and urged a robust response from Western allies. He also said that Ukraine is initiating an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council. The UN later announced that a session will be held on Tuesday.
You already see reports that the Ukrainian air defense is to blame, that it was the Ukrainian PPO, Ukrainian Air Defense, and not their calculated strike. I'm grateful to all the Ukrainians who started posting videos where you can see, specifically, not a part of this or that missile, but a direct missile strike that injured and killed many people in Ukraine today. Ukraine is now initiating the convening of an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council in connection with the Russian attack on civilian infrastructure, including the children's hospital.
US President Joe Biden condemned the missile strikes on X, calling them a horrific reminder of Russia's brutality. He assured that Washington, along with NATO allies, would announce new measures to bolster Ukraine's air defenses. The attack was also condemned by the US State Department.
Just to be clear, these are sites that serve no military purpose. They're not sheltering Ukrainian military assets. They're not sheltering members of the Ukrainian military. These are civilian infrastructure, pure and simple, that cannot, should not, must not be targets of military attacks. But once again, we've seen Putin deliberately attacking civilian infrastructure as part of his bloody war against Ukraine.
The United Nations also condemned the attack, calling it shocking and a violation of international humanitarian law.
The Secretary General strongly condemns today's missile attack by the Russian Federation, hitting residential and civilian infrastructure across Ukraine, including in the cities of Kyiv, Kryvyi, Dnipro, and Pokrovsk. The strike reportedly killed dozens of civilians, including children, and injured over 150 more. The incidents in which missiles hit the Okhmadit National Children's Specialized Hospital in Kyiv, which is the largest pediatric facility in Ukraine, and another medical facility in Kyiv, are particularly shocking. Directing attacks against civilian and civilian objects is prohibited by international humanitarian law, and any such attacks are unacceptable and must end immediately. The Secretary General extends his deepest condolences to the families of all victims and wishes a speedy recovery to those injured.
The Russian Defense Ministry maintained that its forces targeted defense industry sites and aviation bases, denying any intent to harm civilians. The attack on Kyiv's largest children's hospital has left a profound impact. The health minister reported damage to 5 units within the facility, necessitating the evacuation of children to other medical centers. As NATO leaders prepare for a crucial summit, the callous nature of these attacks has intensified the focus on Ukraine's defense needs. Ukraine's resilience remains strong, with President Zelensky advocating for decisive action and support from international partners. But it remains to be seen what steps Ukraine and its partner groups take after this attack.